Okay guys, so I was reading a very interesting book by Alistair McGrath. It's called The Twilight of Atheism. Very interesting book, so what I've read of it thus far. And what I found really fascinating, and I read a portion of the book which really got me thinking about this idea of atheism being a reaction, an emotional reaction to something that unfolds in front of us. Now, he's obviously he speaks about the history of atheism going back to ancient Greece, etc. And then he comes to the modern day, and he zooms in on the 18th century. And according to him, it was events such as the French Revolution which sort of, if you like, instigated this rise of new atheism that we find in the world today, or that was the origin, or the, if you like, the rekindling of atheism in its new form. And what's very interesting is that he points out, obviously, at the time during the French Revolution, there were some thinkers and philosophers in France who spoke out against the church and the ill use of power of the church and the pressures of the church and the immoral conduct of the church at the time. But he also highlights that many of these thinkers weren't atheists, although some would see him that way. Voltaire, for example, he points out he wasn't an atheist. He actually despised atheism as much as he despised the church. He was an individual who believed in a cause, in a creator. He ascribed to something, or something he more probably referred to as rational religion or natural religion, meaning that he believed in a creator, a God, and he said you could find this creator God through just observing nature and studying the world. So he had this type of, what you can also refer to, a deistic, or what he considered to be a deistic concept of God. But that being said, what was interesting and what really struck me was Alistair McGrath's understanding of Voltaire's position and how that related to the rise of atheism. And he says on page 27, Voltaire's insight is of fundamental importance to our study of the emergence of atheism. His argument is simple. The attractiveness of atheism is directly dependent upon the corruption of Christian institutions. Reform those institutions and the plausibility of atheism is dramatically reduced. Very interesting. So here we get the notion that, at least according to Voltaire, that the rise of atheism was directly linked to the problems of the church. Resolve those and you do away with atheism. And I would argue, especially in the times that we live in, we find a very similar problem, which is that many atheists, at least those that I've interacted with, are atheists not because of rational reasons, but they're atheists because of emotional reasons. Something that's happened to them maybe on a personal level, a social level, a family level, which they haven't been able to understand or reconcile, and therefore they've ended up turning away from religion and God. And then later on in life, they develop and add to their disbelief or their atheism, they add the rational elements, if you like, the rational garb upon their particular position later on in their lives. So I guess what I'm trying to get at, or what I'm trying to address today, is those individuals. If you are one of those individuals who claims to be an atheist, and and only you would know this, and your atheism is not, or was not instigated because of rational reasons, there are underlying emotional reasons as to why you're an atheist, then I would really like you to consider something, and that is that just because we don't emotionally understand something, we don't understand a problem or a reason, or something that happens to us in our lives, and we end up coming to a conclusion where we end up blaming God and turning away from religion, is that a good enough reason, right? Now, for example, the problem of evil is a big thing. For many people that turn away from God and become atheists, the problem of evil is the sticking point. Something happened, and they don't obviously philosophize it at the time, but they may not look at it from a philosophical perspective initially, but something happens in life at some point in an individual's life where they don't understand a particular event or an occurrence, and they end up blaming God, or they end up turning away from God, believing that God could not exist because this wouldn't otherwise have occurred. This wouldn't have happened. This event wouldn't have taken place. And because such evil or hardship has befallen me, this proves to me there is no God. Or not even that they don't believe in God, but they turn away from God. They develop a disliking towards God, right? They have a problem with God, not God's existence, but a problem with Him. And this is another topic, but the point being that something moves them away from God. It's an emotional underlying reason. And then that reaction is, the response is, I don't believe, I don't care, I'm an atheist, X, Y, and Z, right? So if you're in that boat, really, if that's what you went through, if that was the reason you're an atheist today, to really, I would encourage you to go back to that time and maybe do some thinking, right? And really reflect upon that moment. And if you understand, and if you could understand that it's just the way you connected the dots of those events at the time which led you to this conclusion, then why not reconsider reality? Why not look at it from the Islamic perspective? Because, and I have a very powerful video on this channel, you can go to, I'll put in the description box below, where Hamza George says he goes over the problem of evil and he really breaks it down in a brilliant way, highlighting why the problem of evil is not a problem in Islam. There's that video, there's his book, you can pick up his book, The Divine Reality, and he has a brilliant chapter on this particular topic as well. And if things could be reconciled for you, which I believe Islam reconciles and clarifies and highlights why this, what we call the problem of evil, isn't a problem, then why not reconsider turning back to God? Why not reconsider trying to find the truth instead of just adopting or sticking to the label we've given ourselves of an atheist and just remaining there? And if we do this, aren't we being unjust to ourselves? Aren't we potentially cutting ourselves off from the truth and preventing ourselves from a beautiful eternal life that waits for us? Something for us to think about and consider. Let me know your thoughts below. Till next time, take care.